Shot through her genitals, and she was like running feces and urine nonstop. When she came back, she wrote an article for this magazine, what they call it?
Glamour.
Glamour magazine, that talks about the beauty of women. When I read her article, I started crying. Her first sentence was, "I just came from hell." You remember that?
Yeah.
I just came from hell. And she said, she couldn't figure out how to begin to tell you without you shutting off. I'm paraphrasing, but I read it so much that when I'm...
Such a horrible piece in terms of what the stories are.
Exactly, it was incredible. So, and then she's been going back, raising money to try to build like a little town for these women, because when they saw them up, send them back to the village, the gang raped them again.
They get re-raped.
Re-raped.
There's now an expression in the Congo called re-raped.
Exactly.
And a lot of women are being re-raped.
Right.
So the situation of women in the Congo is the worst situation for women in the world, bar none, because I've been around the world. And we've been trying,
Yes.
a lot of us,
Yes.
for many years now, to wake up the world to the
Yeah.
situation in the Congo. And it's so shocking to see the complete indifference of the UN,
Right.
of the United States government, of the British government, of the French government, of the Canadian government, everywhere we've been,
Yeah.
particularly the Obama administration, which is asleep at the wheel, and not only not supporting the Congolese to stop the atrocities, but celebrating Kagame, who is at the heart
Right.
of what is going on in the DRC and is
Right.
responsible for genocide in the DRC.
Yes.
And I think, just even this march today, where are the people?
Right.
Where is everyone?
Yeah.
Where are the souls and people of America
Yes.
for the Congolese? We've been working for 3.5 years, and yesterday I was on the phone with Dr. Mukwege, with our person in Bukavu,
Right.
and not only was one of the greatest human rights workers gunned down in
Got down
Kinshasa
again. I just told him
today,
about it.
but in yesterday in Bukavu, Dr. Mukwege's colleague from Panzi Hospital, they broke into his house.
What?
They macheted his daughter, who was 10 years old, and her brother and his wife. Dr. Mukwege was there for the birth of that child.
Oh my God.
And the child was named after him because there was a difficulty in birth. I mean, the atrocities continue day after day after day. And because they are faceless black people,
Yes.
they go unnoticed and untold and unresponded to.
Yes.
And all of us have to figure out, it's not going to come from the Obama administration. It's not going to come from governments. It's going to come from people.
That's right.
People have to rally and organize and unite and be bold and daring. The women in the Congo are rising up. There is a
Yeah.
revolution brewing, I can promise you. We're part of a huge campaign all over the Kivus where women are taking back their lives, taking back their bodies, taking back their vaginas, taking back their hearts and souls. But it requires support from the international community for them to do what they need to do. And I'm so proud to be here today with this amazing man who is one of the most educated and knowing people about the history of the DRC, and I just wish there were thousands of people here.
Can I tell you something off the record? I have written for Wired. I want real quick. I've written for Wired magazine. It's a magazine you can get in Barnes and Noble.
Yeah, yeah.
I've written for them for 5-6 years, and I've been published by them many times. And I'd written a story about the PlayStation War, where coltan was they needed the coltan in 2000 to make their PlayStation. Let me tell you something. Off the record, I don't want you to repeat my name about this, but Wired magazine killed that story
sure they killed
because they didn't want to lose their Sony
Of course
account.
they did.
Exactly.
And that's one reason why there's people here,
Yeah,
because
that's what is
mainstream
happening.
media is so
Totally.
they're
In
so
bed
in
with-
bed with
with-
Sony,
yes.
with Nextel, with
Exactly.
all these technology companies,
Yeah.
and they can't.
The government is too. I
Yeah.
mean, everybody is.
Yes, everybody is.
You
You weren't able to garner any pre-publicity for this.
Well, we did.
We did. We've been doing. I mean, you know how many flyers I
No,
passed?
he's sent out
But
so
I
much.
mean coverage by the press.
No,
and-
let me tell you, I wrote the New York Times. I wrote the Daily News.
right.
I wrote the New York Post. I sent a press release to the TV stations. Where's anybody? In other words, once they see you talk about the genocide in the Congo, they know you want to lead to talking about who is responsible for it.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
because-
And everybody's connected at some root level
Exactly.
to what's going on.
So you have to be bold like Eve here for you to say, I'm going to continue to fight for these women regardless.
And also, the thing that we have to remember is the women of Congo are the fiercest, strongest women in the world. They don't need anybody to fight for them. They just need the resources so they can determine their own destiny.
Yeah, exactly.
They know what they need to do. I mean, what we do in V-Day is we support them to lead and determine what's supposed to happen. And that's all people need in the Congo. They just need the resources and the love and the support to determine their own destinies and to get the Rwandese and the Ugandans out of their country so they can have peace and they can have their own minerals and they can have their own lives.
Yes.
You know?
How about Trans-Africa?
Oh, please. Please don't talk about no Trans-Africa or USAID or... Eve, I was just telling John, I was at a hearing 2 weeks ago in front of the subcommittee for Africa being chaired by our friend across the river. What's his name? Donald Payne.
Yeah.
Donald Payne is talking today about those who committed genocide against Rwanda. I asked him, I said, what happened? What happened? You haven't been reading?
No.
I mean, you have... Abiyarimana's wife just filed a lawsuit in Oklahoma against Paul Kagame. And you know the doctor who fired the professor was arrested.
He was in jail.
In jail in
And now
Rwanda.
they're saying that he tried to commit suicide. And
exactly.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I asked this man, Donald Payne, he knows me from the time when I was president of UDPS.
Right.
I asked him, I said, you know me from the... And you used to be trying to get rid of Mobutu. What happened now? You know what? He's been now getting some money or something. Now he can't talk about the Congolese women being raped. He can't talk about that. He's talking about the genocide that happened in Rwanda in 1994.
Exactly.
And who killed the Tutsis. Even though people know that the Hutus died too.
Right, exactly.
You see?
A lot of them.
And Johnny Carson, I had to challenge him. He said, no, the Assistant Secretary of State for Africa.
Yeah.
So Obama is making mistakes, taking all these people that were part of the invasion and putting them in.
And also, I think there's a history of incredible guilt in America around Rwanda.
Exactly.
And so people feel now that if they honor Kagame and they celebrate Kagame, they'll redeem their guilt.
Right.
As opposed to looking at the real story, which is Rwanda's incredible complicity in the genocide.
Yes.
And how Kagame is manipulating everything without ever getting his fingers dirty. You know?
Yeah.
And I think that's really very, very difficult for this country to do because of massive guilt and massive feelings that they betrayed the Rwandans, which they did.
Yes, they did.
You know, I mean, all that's true, but that doesn't mean now that 6 million Congolese should be dead.
Exactly.
Because of it.
Exactly.
You know?
I was saying what the Ambassador Simpson said in Kinshasa, that France wanted to stop the invasion of the Congo. Right? But for the United States, anything that was going to either protect the refugees or stop the invasion was going to ultimately help preserve Mobutu's power. Right? France wanted to stop the invasion. The US said no. This is our ambassador in Kinshasa saying this. You saw the video last night, or you went there last night, or Brother Hamilton, you went there, that's all. So you have a US ambassador saying that the US agreed to invade a foreign country.